Another major topic that we're going to talk about in the Philippians level is battle tactics. Um, we're going to start doing offensive work. We're going to be doing service, which means that you're going to be moving into the devil's territory and taking ground. And this will become more pronounced in the next level, where we're actually going to go out and do this in areas where you have distractions from outsiders. And so this is we're going to understand battle tactics at this level so that we can start working offensively. We also need to understand battle tactics to help us defensively. The principles that we're going to use against the devil is the same principles that the devil uses against us. And if we're aware of those things, then we can defend against them better and we can attack him better. And he is not ignorant of these things, and he uses them all the time, and that's why he wins most of the time, right? Because he's attacking people who are ignorant of these things. So let's get into it. Deuteronomy 20 deals with warfare. And when we go into the land of Israel, we need to get rid of all the idolatry that is in the land, and that is going to involve physical warfare. And in the Battle of Armageddon, we are going to participate by killing people who are trying to infuse evil into the land of Israel, the borders of Israel. Now, this does not apply outside of the land of Israel because outside of the land of Israel, people have a choice of whatever God they want to choose. And in this way, people have a true choice. If you want to follow the God of Israel, then you can go to Israel and live there and live in a society that he runs. If you want to follow some other god, you can go to some Gentile nation and do that. Okay? So this affords people a choice. We're not trying to take over the world like Islam and Christianity is trying to do. That is not our purpose. Our purpose is to take over Israel. Now, once we take over Israel and Israel is following God, we're going to get a tremendous amount of prosperity from that. And that is going to influence these other Gentile nations. They're going to say, hey, my God's not working so good, I'm going to follow your God. And that's what happens in the millennium, is that this option of the prosperity of Israel is on the table now. And so all of the Gentile nations compare what they've got, the problems that they have, with the prosperity that Israel has, and they start following the God of Israel. And so that's how he rules the entire world, through influence. But they have the choice of what God they're going to follow outside of the land of Israel. So in Deuteronomy 20, let's just read through it. When you go out to battle against your enemies and see horses and chariots and people more numerous than you, do not be afraid of them. For Yahuwah your God is with you, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. So it shall be, when you are on the verge of battle, that the priests shall approach and speak to the people. And he shall say to them, Hear, O Israel, today you are on the verge of battle with your enemies. Do not let your heart faint. Do not be afraid. Do not tremble. Do not be terrified because of them. For Yahuwah your God is he who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. So the power of God is a greater power than the military power of all these nations that are attacking. In the Battle of Armageddon, you've got Israel on one side, little bitty Israel, and every army in the world on the other side. And you say, oh boy, we're in trouble now. We need to make peace. We need to kowtow. We need to become their slave so that we don't get killed. Well, that's how we would do it if we were looking at it physically. But what this is saying is, don't look at it physically, look at it spiritually. Spiritually, you have the armies of heaven. Spiritually, you have God. And you have a greater power. And you need to operate in faith when you go against these things. Okay? And this is very important also in spiritual warfare. You look at the situation that you're in. You want to witness to people, and you've got City Hall and federal government and your neighbors and everybody on the other side working for Satan, and they're all telling you to sit down and shut up. What are you going to do? Well, you can look with your eyes at their power. They've got the Marines on their side. And you can sit down and shut up. Or you can say, hey, I've got God. I've got the armies of heaven. I've got all of this power on my side that is way more than their power. And I have a job to do. So I'm going to witness. And I'm going to witness wherever and whenever God tells me to do so. And that's going to cause a lot of persecution and prosecution. But that's God's business. The results is God's business. Our business is doing what He tells us to do. Now, there are a number of people who should not be in battle. Okay? The first type that is excluded are those who have not dedicated a new house. So if you have a new house that you're working on, then you need to stay out of battle. You can take care of that. Okay, this is verse 5. When the officers shall speak to the people, what man is there who has built a new house and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man dedicate it. And this is normally done for 1 year. We're going to see that getting newly married is another reason to stay out of battle. And newly married people should stay out of battle for 1 year. Okay? The second type is starting a new business. Verse 6, also, what man is there who has planted a vineyard and has not eaten of it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in battle and another man eat of it. Okay? The third type is the betrothed. And this is talking about someone who is newly married. And what man is there who is betrothed to a woman and has not married her? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in battle and another man marry her. So the engagement period is covered, but it's also a year after that where you're supposed to take care of your wife. So this is telling us that we're supposed to be taking care of these major things in life first, because if we go to battle, our head's not going to be in the game, and we're going to get killed. Okay. In Deuteronomy 24, verse 5, it says, when a man has taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war or be charged with any business. He shall be free at home 1 year and bring happiness to his wife whom he has taken. Okay. The fourth type is the coward. Deuteronomy 20, verse 8, the officers shall speak further to the people and say, what man is there who is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return to his house, lest the heart of his brethren faint like his heart. So we have a draft going on in Israel. In Israel, all males 20 to 50 are in the reserves, and they are called up to battle when a battle comes up. And when a person is a coward, you're not going to charge him with desertion and execute him like we do in this country, okay? Well, like the law says we're supposed to do. Instead, it says that the coward should go home. Now a person who is the coward, he's going to have a real hard time getting along with everybody back home, because that's why he's there, because he's a coward. So he has a choice, you know. He's either going to be kind of shunned by society, or he's going to go into a fearful situation and develop some faith in order to accomplish that. And that's what we really need to do. And what this is saying is that we need to really spend time looking at God in worship and thanksgiving. When we do that, we develop our faith. And when we develop our faith, we can go into battle and fight against physical enemies or fight against spiritual enemies. And we have courage to do that because the Holy Spirit is flowing through us, okay? Because we have been looking at Him. And that reality is a bigger reality than that enemy that is out there. And so a coward is someone who is not just somebody who's afraid of battle and doesn't want to do that. A coward is someone who has not been worshiping, has not been thanking God, he's not been looking at God, he has been looking at the enemy. And we should not be doing this, okay? And if we are living in Israel following the Torah, then the Torah is going to funnel us into worship and thanksgiving. It's going to pressurize us to live righteously and worship and thanksgiving and looking at God. These things are going to be the tendency in Israel under Torah. And this is the way that it's supposed to be. And if you go against that, you have to really fight against it to sin. You have to really fight against it to not worship. And what that means is that if you're not fighting against it, you're not going to be a coward. But if you are fighting against it and you're not worshiping and you're sinning, then you will be a coward. And that's something that you really have to deal with, okay? And you should be dealing with that rather than going into battle and running away at the last minute and causing problems for everybody else. Everybody else is going to see that and be dissuaded from their job, okay? So Deuteronomy 20 talks about warfare. It talks about when you're inside the land, you have to annihilate all these pagan nations. And we want to do that because we want to set up a nation in Israel that is influencing towards good. If you allow idolatrous nations to live inside the land of Israel, then they are going to be influencing you towards sin and evil. And that's exactly what we have in today in Israel. You've got the Muslims influencing towards evil. You've got atheist Jews influencing towards evil. And all of this kind of stuff is going on in Israel. You've got Christians who are anti-Torah in Israel, who are influencing against Torah. All of that is a problem, okay? And you should not allow people like that inside the borders. And the ultra-Orthodox are pushing towards that in a sense. Their idea of how to follow Torah is not quite correct according to our understanding. But at least they're trying to say, let's get rid of all these idolaters out of the land, because that's what the Bible says to do. And that's absolutely correct. And and that's what we should be pushing towards. Now, our job is to gather up the rest of Israel, the northern kingdom of Israel, and then go back to the land once we've gathered them up. So we have a different job. Our job is outside of the land of Israel right now, till we gather those people up. But eventually, this is the way it's going to be, and this is going to lead to an Israel that is full of the power of God and the prosperity of God, that is going to influence the rest of the world to follow the God of Israel in the millennium. All right, so that covers Deuteronomy 20, and we'll cover more battle tactics in the next video.